Hi, good morning to all of you. Welcome all with online classes for statistical methods. The topic is harmonic mean, quartile range, and variance. On the last topic, on the last term, we had completed with the arithmetic mean, median, mode, geometric mean. Now, in continuation of that topic, we are going to start with harmonic mean and we are just move forward to the quartile range variance. The subject is studied in the BSc Honors Agriculture 5th semester. So, by the knowledge of all the measures of central tendency, now I'm moving in further continuation to get the harmonic mean. What do you mean by the harmonic mean? So, as by the name, harmonic mean, again you need to get do some average. So the harmonic mean of set of observation is defined as the reciprocal of the arithmetic average of the reciprocal of the given values. By observing the statement, we come to know that we are going the reciprocal word twice in the statement. So first you do the reciprocal of the data or the series or the observation which is given to you. Now you have to take the arithmetic mean of that reciprocated data or observation. After that, you just reciprocate that arithmetic mean gives harmonic mean. So this is the definition. Harmonic mean of set of observation is defined as the reciprocal of the arithmetic average of the reciprocal of the given values if x1 comma x2 comma x3 comma dash 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 or dot 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 xn are n observations, then harmonic mean according to the formula is given as n upon summation I equals to 1 to n 1 by xi. So in the denominator part, as you are seeing that this is the arithmetic mean of the reciprocated value and the denominator, and in the numerator it is shifted from the denominator to the denominator. Okay. So this is the formula which is going to be used for calculating the harmonic mean for the raw data or ungrouped data. And if the frequency distributed data or the grouped data is provided, then the formula to be used with a slight change that you need to multiply all the reciprocated observations and take the average mean, arithmetic mean or mean average, and do the reciprocal of that, and finally you get the harmonic mean. Harmonic mean is used when we are dealing with speed, rates, etc. For example, a given data, a series of observation is given to you 5, 10, 17, 24, 30. Calculate the harmonic mean. So, first of all, do the calculation of the reciprocated data. The reciprocal of 1 upon 5 is come out to be 0.02000. Reciprocal of 10 is equals come out to be 0.100. And similarly, reciprocal of 1 by 17 is given, reciprocal of 24 is given, reciprocal of 30 is given. Now, you take the arithmetic mean of these reciprocated values. First, take the arithmetic mean of these reciprocated values. Okay. So, after taking the arithmetic mean of these reciprocated values, the harmonic mean is the reciprocal of these reciprocated, or the harmonic mean is equals to 1 upon arithmetic mean or we can say that harmonic mean is equals to 1 upon arithmetic mean of the reciprocated observation given. So by putting all the values, we get the solution and the final answer comes 11.526. So this is a very simple example for the ungrouped data or raw data, how to calculate the harmonic mean. For example, number of tomatoes per plant are given below. This is a grouped data or frequency distributed data is given to you. Now you need to calculate the harmonic mean. So the number of tomatoes per plant, number of tomatoes per plant, 20 tomatoes per plant, number of plants, 4. 4 plants are repeating or giving tomatoes 20, 20, 20. And similarly, 2 plants, 21 tomatoes, 7 plants, 22 tomatoes, 1 plant, 23 tomatoes, 3 plants, 24, 1 plant, 25, and so on. So, need to calculate the harmonic. So, first of all, calculate the reciprocated data. First, you reciprocate the number of tomatoes. That is the first row. 1 by 20, 1 by 21, 1 by 22, 1 by 23, 1 by 24, 1 by 25. Now multiply with the individual frequency. 1 by 20 is multiplied to 4, 1 by 21 is multiplied to 2, 1 by 22 is multiplied to 7, 1 by 23 multiplied to 1, 1 by 24 multiplied to 3, 1 by 25 multiplied to 1. And do the summation of all these values and divide by the number of observation. Now the number of plant gives the total number of observation. Okay. So do the addition of all these plants. 4 plus 2, 6, 6 plus 7, 13, 13 plus 1, 4, 14, 14, 14, 3, 17 and 18. So here the n is equals to 18. Okay. Now as per the formula of harmonic mean is equals to 1 upon arithmetic mean of the reciprocated data. So just see the solution. As per the table, first we do the reciprocal of x, that is number of tomatoes per plant, and tomatoes are given by 4 plants, 20 tomatoes by 4 plants. So the frequency of 20 is repeating 4 times. So we are multiplying this 4 with 1 by 20. Clear? So when you just do the multiplication of 4 into 0.0500, this come out to be 0.200. And in this way, when we do the totaling, that is number of observations here is, and we had already calculated in the previous slide, and we do the summation of all the reciprocated value multiplied to the frequencies come out to be 0.8216. So the arithmetic mean is come out to be 0.8216 divided by 18. Now the harmonic mean is given as 0.8216 divided by 18. Okay. So finally we got the solution is 21.91. This is called harmonic. Clear? So this is an example for the grouped data or frequency distributed data. Now what are the merits of harmonic mean? It is rigidly defined. It is defined on all observations. It is amenable to further algebraic treatment. It is the most suitable average when it is desired to give greater weight to smaller observations and less weight to the larger ones. So basically, this is the most important merit of harmonic mean, to give the suitable average for one who are having the smaller observation and less weightage to the larger ones. Okay, and the most important merit is also that it is defined for all observations. Now, demerits of harmonic mean: it is not easily understood, it is difficult to compute because some of the time, why it is difficult to compute? Because you need to take the reciprocal of all the data, and the reciprocal of all the data come into the decimals. So the calculation becomes so lengthy. So therefore, it is used to say that it is difficult to compute. It is only a summary figure and not with the actual item in the series. It gives greater importance to small items and is therefore useful only when small items have to be given greater weightage. So this is a demerit. It's rarely used in grouped data. It is rarely used. It cannot be used for the most commonly for the grouped data, but it commonly used for the ungrouped data. These are some demerits of the harmonic mean. Now come to the quartile. Quartile is a word which is very similar to the percentile. What do you mean by the percentile, or what do you understand by the percentile? The word percentile is defined like that: you are dividing into hundredth part of a unit number. So quartile, decile, uh, similarly to percentile, quartile here is going to divide the distribution in four equal parts. There are three quartiles. The second quartile divides the distribution into two halves and therefore is same as the median. The first lower quartile Q1 marks of the first one fourth. The third upper quartile Q3 marks of the three fourth. It may be noted that the second quartile is the value of the median and the 50th percentile. That is the 50th part of that is the middlemost part of the unit. So for raw or ungrouped data, if you want to calculate the quartile for raw or ungrouped data, we can find the quartile by using the formula or QD equals to Q3 minus Q1 by 2. So according to the quartile deviation, we need to calculate the Q1 and Q3. That's the first quartile and the lower quartile. First quartile is the lower quartile, and the one third, the third quartile, the upper quartile. And for calculating Q1, we use the formula n plus 1 divided by fourth item. So here n stands for the number of observations. So Q1 define Q1 is equals to the n plus 1 by fourth item position. So you are just getting the position, and from that position, whatever the observation is standing, you just pick up that number, and that observation is known as Q1. And Q3 is equals to given by 3 into n plus 1 by fourth item. Okay. So get the value of Q1 and Q3, put in the quartile deviation formula, and do the subtraction divided by 2. You will get the quartile deviation. Now There are some quiz section on the behalf of what we had earlierly studied till to now related to the measure of central tendency, that is arithmetic mean, median mode, geometric mean, harmonic mean, percentile, quartile, and all that. So the question first, the middle value of an order series is called option A, second quartile, fifth decile, 50th percentile, all the above. So the middle value of an order series is called, it can be anything, whatever the order series is given to you. The middle value depending upon the observation, though it can be second quartile, it can be fifth decile, it can be 50th percentile. So the correct answer is all the above. For a set of values, the modal value can be, as we know by the definition of mode, mode is the most repeating observation. So for set of values, the modal value can be unimodal, bimodal, trimodal. Yes, it depends upon the set of values which is given to you. The repeating frequency or any set of observation or values given to you in which no single observation is repeated, then we can say that it is unimodal. And if in the set of observation is given to you, if any observation is repeating twice, then we can say that bimodal. And if any observation is repeating thrice, then we can say trimodal. So for a set of value, the modal value can be, it depends upon the set of values or what the observations given to you. So the perfect answer is all of these. Mode is suitable for qualitative data. Mode is suitable for qualitative data, whether true or false. Yes, true. It is for qualitative data, not for quantitative data. Decile divides the group in 10 equal parts. Yes. Is true or false? Yes. According to the definition, what we had studied, that percentile divides the group into 10 100 parts. Similarly, decile divides the group into 10 equal parts. Yes, true. Mean is affected by the extreme values. Yes. Is it true or false? It's true. Because in the merits or demerits of mean, we had studied that this statement, the mean is affected by the extreme values. Because mean means to calculate the average. Okay. And average is almost affected by the extreme values. That is true. Thus, the geometric mean can be calculated for negative values. True, false? Yes, true. Geometric mean can be calculated for negative values. Is it true or false? What is the definition of geometric mean? Just have a quick review in your mind. The geometric mean is defined that you multiply all the observation and take the nth root. So if number of observations are, if the number of observations are odd, then the nth root comes under the minus, a minus sign comes under the root, and it cannot be calculated the geometric mean for imaginary numbers, because root minus 1 or whatever the nth root cannot be calculated. So the geometric mean can be calculated for negative values? No, it is false. It cannot be calculated for negative values. Now, for your assignment, define mean and mode. For For what type of data mode can be calculated? Explain how to calculate the arithmetic mean for raw and grouped data by taking an appropriate example. Explain how to calculate median and mode for a grouped data with appropriate example. Do in your assignments. Now, in continuation to in this range, variance, standard deviation, coefficient of variation, computation of the above statistics for raw and grouped data. That is, we have to do all the calculation or computation for range, variance, standard deviation, coefficient of variation for raw data or grouped data. I had already told the data is of three types. Basically, whatever the series or the observation is provided to you, a simple series or data is provided to you, then it is called the raw data. And if the frequency distributed data is given to you, then it is called the grouped data. And the third most is the classification distribution type of data. That is within the range a data is provided. That is the third type of data. So measure of dispersion. So before starting to the measure of dispersion, I would like to give the brief introduction about the set theory or the probability also. So to accomplish the task of probability, we have the knowledge of set theory. In earlier classes, we had studied about the set theory. If you memorize or if you remember the set theory by the example of Venn diagrams and the operations of a set, that is, some operations are related, that is known as union, intersection, and all that. So the third set theory, the collection of well-defined things is called set. Well-defined means a law by which we are able to find whether a given thing is contained in the given set or not. And various operations of sets, the basic operation of sets and their related results are as we had done in earlier classes, like union of sets, and we represent by a symbol U, A union B, which means to say that what are the common between A and B. So X belongs to A or X belongs to B. Second is intersection of two sets, A intersection B, difference of two sets. So some operations are to be used while doing the set theory, because to start the next topic, that is probability, we have a knowledge of set theory. Now, what are the some algebra related to the set is the commutative law, associative law, idempotent law, distributed law, identity element, or De Morgan's law. So these are the some laws which are used as the algebra for the sets. Now, some definitions, basic definitions are also come to clear with you. That is trials and events. An experiment is called a trial if it results in any one of the possible outcomes, and all the possible outcomes are called events. Exhaustive events, total possible outcomes of an experiment are called its exhaustive events. Favorable events, these are the some terminologies which you had already done in earlier classes also. Favorable events, those outcomes of a trial in which a given event may happen are called favorable cases for the event. Equally likely events, mutually exclusive or disjoint events, simple and compound events, independent and dependent events, uh, sample space. So, after getting the knowledge of all these fundamental basics of set theory, we proceed to the probability, and the definition of probability or the mathematical definition of the probability is given as number of favorable cases to any event upon number of exhaustive cases to any event. So this is the short review of probability. We will see the probability related questions and the topic in detail. Now, measure of dispersion. The average, sorry, the averages are representatives of frequency distribution, but they fail to give a complete picture of the distribution. I'm repeating the sentence once again. Whatever the averages we had studied, that is measure of central tendencies, are representative of frequency distributions, but they fail to give a complete picture of the distribution. They do not tell anything about the scatterness of observations within the distribution. Suppose that we have the distribution of the yield, that is kg per plot, of two paddy varieties from 5 plots each. The distribution may be as follows. Variety first, 45, 42, 42, 41, 40. Variety second, 54, 48, 42, 33, 30. So first variety 45 kg per plot, 42 kg per plot. Any 5 plots are given to us, paddy varieties from 5 plots for two different varieties of paddies. Okay, so these are the yields given in the table. It can be seen that the mean yield for both varieties is 42 kg. If we calculate the average for both the varieties, it come out to be 42 kg, but cannot say that the performance of the two varieties are same. But we cannot say that the performance of two varieties are same, because as per the table, the performance the performance is almost very different in plots. If I'm talking about the plots, the performance rarely or extremely different, but their average come out to be same. So, but we cannot say that the performance of two varieties are same. There is a greater uniformity of yields in the first variety. The uniformity is very much achieved in the first variety, where there is a more variability in the yields of the second variety. The first variety may preferred since it is more consistent in yield performance. We prefer the first variety because the yield consistency is uniform. From the above example, it is obvious that a measure of center tendency alone is not sufficient to describe a frequency distribution. In addition to it, we should have a measure of scatterness of observation. So the important is we should have to measure of scatterness of observation. The scatterness or variation of observation from their averages are called the dispersion. The most important line need to be noted down. The scatterness or variation of observations from their averages are called as dispersion, that is deviation. There are different measures of dispersion like the range, the quartile deviation, the mean deviation, and the standard deviation. So these are the following measures of dispersion. First is the range, second is the quartile deviation, third one is the mean deviation, and the fourth one is the standard deviation. So characteristic of good measure of dispersion. An ideal measure of dispersion is expected to possess the following properties. It should be rigidly defined. It should be based on all the items. It should not be unduly affected by extreme items. It should lend itself for algebraic manipulations. It should be simple to understand and easy to calculate. So first is the range. This is the simplest possible measure of dispersion and is defined as the difference between the largest and the smallest value of the variable. So whatever the observation given to you, you first arrange that observation in the ascending order and just get the difference between the largest and the smallest value. In symbol, range is equals to L minus S, that is largest minus smallest. In individual observations and discrete series, L and S are easily identified. So if I'm talking about the individual observation and discrete series, the largest and the smallest number can be easily identified. But in continuous series, the following two methods are followed. Method first, L equals to the upper boundary of the highest class and S equals to the smallest, the lower boundary of the lowest class. So in the continuous series, first we need to decide the highest class and the lowest class, and from highest class and the lowest class we need to choose the upper boundary and the lower boundary. They will give the value of L and S. Method second, L equals to mid value of the highest class and S equals to the mid value of the lowest class. Okay, so this is the methods to calculate the range for continuous series. For example, the example first, the yields kg per plot of a cotton variety from 5 plots are 8, 9, 8, 10, 11. Find the range. We just arrange this data in ascending order, and here we easily identify the lower value is 8 and the higher value is 11. So the range is 11 minus 8 is equals to 3. Not a typical task to identify the range. Okay, so this is the range. Now example 2, calculate the range for the following distribution. This is the continuous type of distribution of data. Size 60 to 63, 63 to 66, 18, 66 to 69, 42, 69 to 72, 27, 72 to 75, 8. And the frequency of repetition is, that is number 5, 18, 42, 27, 8 are given. Now, in this, we need to identify the L and S, the larger value and the smaller value. So for finding out the larger value, the upper boundary of the highest class. The highest class, we just noted down the highest class is 72 to 75. So the upper boundary is 75. Take the value of L is equals to 75. And from the smallest class, the smallest value of the smallest class is, or lower boundary of the smallest class is 16. So the range is 75 minus 60 is come out to be 15. Now, what are the merits and demerits of range? It is simple to understand. It is easy to calculate. In certain types of problems like quality control, weather forecast, share price analysis, etc., range is most widely used. Demerits. It is very much affected by the extreme items. Obviously, because it depends upon the extreme values, so it is very much affected by the extreme items. It is based on only two extreme observations. Obviously, according to the formula, it is based only on two extreme observations. Uh, no concern about the middle observations. It cannot be calculated from open and class intervals. It cannot be, range cannot be calculated for open and class intervals. It is not suitable for mathematical treatment. It is very rarely used measure. Some of the time it is going to be used because by this measure or observation, we are not going to conclude any sort of data or any sort of result. So these are the merits and demerits of range. Now the next topic is standard deviation. Again, the word deviation, which is scatterness, or the deviation from the average. Average is the measure of central tendency, not going to give the exact uh, conclusion about their results. So the standard deviation gives the exact performance or exact result where there is a variability. It is defined as the positive square root of the arithmetic mean of the square of the deviation of the given observation from their arithmetic mean. So, first of all, the standard deviation is given by the formula square root summation x square minus summation x to the whole square upon n minus 1. If you are observing this formula, you are finding that first you do the squaring. Squaring of what? The observation. And then you do the summation. Okay. And secondly, you do the summation of all the observation without squaring. That is total of the summation, total of the observation, and do the square and divide by the total number of observation, and finally you divide by the n minus 1 for a raw data. This formula for calculating the standard deviation is used for raw data. Okay, the standard deviation is denoted by S in case of sample and Greek letter sigma in case of population. So wherever there is a sample survey, and if you need to calculate the standard deviation, we denote it by S. And in case of population, the standard deviation is denoted by a Greek letter sigma. And the formula is already discussed for raw data, and for grouped data, the formula are, these are the formulas for discrete continuous data and for continuous data. So make a note of these formulas The formulas are quite simple. Conditionally, you must remember these formula. So for calculating the standard deviation for discrete continuous data or discrete type data, summation fx square upon n minus summation fx upon n to the whole square. And the standard deviation for continuous type of data is equals to given by C, where C stands for the class interval, which we had already discussed in the measure of central tendency, how you are going to identify the class interval. And the formula is in continuation taking a square root summation of fd square upon n, where capital N stands for the total number of observations, and minus summation fd upon n to the whole square, where d is equals to x minus a upon c, where x minus a stand for the middle class. Okay, we had already discussed in the measure of central tendency the notations. Now let us understand these formula by taking the suitable examples. Calculate the standard deviation for raw data given to you. 5-year heads of sorghum are 100, 102, 118, 124, 126 grams are given. So, according to the standard deviation formula, S is equals to summation x square. So, first we do the squaring of each head or each data and do the calculation or do the summation. So the final summation of x square come out to be 65,580, and the summation of observation is come out to be 570, because these two summations are required in the formula, and the total number of observations are 5. So here n is equals to 5. Put all these values in the formula, calculate it, take the square root of the final value, you will get 65,580, that is summation of x square, minus 570, that is this, and 2 the square, divided by 5, divided by 5 minus 1. The finally it comes to be root 115, which is equals to 12.25 grams. This is called standard deviation. Okay, so keep the formula in your mind for calculating the standard deviation. If you forgot the formula, you are not able to find out the standard deviation. Now, the example for discrete distribution type of data, how to calculate the standard deviation for the discrete distribution type of data. The frequency distribution of seed yield of 50 sesame plants are given below. Find the standard deviation. Seed yields in grams, 3 grams is repeated 4 times, 4 grams repeated 6 times, 5 grams 15 times, 6 grams 15 times, 7 grams. So the frequency, when we do the addition of frequency, it come out to be 50. Okay. So we can say that 50 observations are given to you, in which 3 is repeated 4 times, 4 is repeated 6 times, 5 is repeated 15 times, 6 is repeated 15 times, and 7 is repeated 10 times. Okay. So now apply the formula for standard deviation. Make a table first. According to the formula, whatever the data you need, according to the formula, whatever the data you need, you just make a table of that and do the summation. So seed yield 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, frequency 4, 6, 15, 15, 10. Do the multiplication of frequency and the data fx. Do the multiplication of frequency and x square. 9 into 4, 36. Okay. Similarly, in the same way, do fx square. Now, here the total number of frequency or the total number of observation is equals to 50. The value of n is equals to 50. Now, observe the formula and put all the values. Standard deviation is equals to given as square root or root summation fx square by n. So fx square is equals to 1537 by 50 minus summation of fx, that is 271 by 50 to the whole square. And finally, when you just do all the calculation, the solution come out to be 1.1677 grams standard deviation. So these are the formula, and this is the calculation for continuous discrete distribution type of data. Now, for continuous distribution type of data, the standard deviation is calculated as per the formula we had discussed. And according to that formula, first we make a table and do all the calculation according to the formula. So it is easy to put the values in the formula and the calculation will become easy. So 50, the frequency distribution of seed yield of 50 shechem plants are given below. So the total number of observations are 50. That is number of plants, that is frequency. When you add up all these plants, it come out to be 50. Find the standard deviation, and the class range is given as 2.5 to 3.5, 3.5 to 4.5, 4.5 to 5.5, 5.5 to 6.5, and 6.5 to 7.5. Okay. Now, first of all, we need to decide the class having the higher frequency. So middle, instead of finding the class having the higher frequency, we find the middle value from the given range. So the middle value x 2.5, 3.5, the middle value is come out to be 3. Okay. 3.5 to 4.5, 4, 5, and 6, so on. Now calculate the d. So d is x minus a by c, and multiplication of df, squaring the value of d, multiply with the frequency d square f, because these values are to be required to put in the formula for calculating the standard deviation for continuous type of distribution data. So finally, we do the totaling of all these. A is called the assumed mean, n is equals to 50, c equals to 1. So put all these values in the formula. Finally, you got the solution come out to be 1.1677 is the standard deviation. What are the merits and demerits of standard deviation? It is rigidly defined and its value is always definite and based on all the observations, and the actual signs of variations or deviations are used. As it is based on arithmetic mean, it has all the merits of arithmetic mean. It is the most important and widely used measure of dispersion. It is possible for further algebraic treatment. It is less affected by the fluctuation of sampling and hence stable. It is the basis for measuring the coefficient of correlation and sampling. So keep in mind, the standard deviation is to be used further because further we are going to study the correlation and regression as the topic in a statistical method. Again, there we need the standard deviation, or we need the formula of standard deviation. So it is the basis for measuring the coefficient of correlation and sampling. Demerits: it is not easy to understand and it is difficult to calculate. Why it is difficult to calculate? Because until or unless when you are not remember or memorized to the formula, you are unable to calculate the standard deviation. It gives more weight to the extreme values because the values are squared out. As it is an absolute measure of variability, it cannot be used for the purpose of comparison. So that's all about the today's class. In next class or in next lecture, we are going to start with the variance, coefficient of variation, and furthermore new topics are to be introduced. So thank you all for today's class.